And the Padres keep finding ways. So I think the biggest surprise early in the first month of the baseball season is exactly what you just brought up, the depth of the National League West.
It's time for Sportsnaut's MLB podcast. Big League Buzz, news and interviews from around the majors. Here's your host, Scott Gulbranson.
Welcome back to Big League Buzz, the MLB podcast from Sportsnaut. And today we have a special guest with us, and that is Tom Verducci, MLB analyst for both Fox Sports and, of course, the MLB Network. Tom, I wanted to talk to you about the Western Division of the National League to the NL West. You know, going into this season, like most people, we expected the Dodgers to be the class of that division. I don't know that they still aren't, but clearly it's been so competitive. You have the Giants in first place right now as we speak, Padres in third, Dodgers right there in the middle at second, and even the Diamondbacks playing well. When you look at this division based on the first month, how sustainable do you think this current standings are, and are we at some point going to see one or two of these teams exert themselves and pull a little bit away from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, I'm not sure there's going to be a team that really separates themselves big time. I think the Dodgers are the one team that can, but the early signs with the Dodgers not good with some of the injuries they've had, especially with Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow. But I do think it's legit that the Giants are an improved team. The Diamondbacks, coming off an 89-win team, haven't lost anything offensively. I mean, they were the best offense in baseball last year. And the Padres keep finding ways. So I think the biggest surprise early in the first month of the baseball season is exactly what you just brought up, the depth of the National League West. I like a lot of people, I had the Dodgers down as a team winning about 105 games. Might be tougher to get to that number. Now, we really have to wait to see once these teams start playing each other, right? I mean, first month of the season, there's been only 6 games within the division. The Padres and the Dodgers each played the Rockies a 3-game series. Of course, they went 6-0 against the Rockies. But until they start playing one another, we have to reserve judgment on how we might order these teams. But I do think there's not going to be a lot of separation. And probably the Giants are the one team that has, maybe surprise is too strong of a word, but impressed me the most with their improvement. They're playing great baseball. I mean, as Bob Melvin, the manager, said, all they have to do is hang around the game and they'll find a way to win it late. They do a lot of that.
Yeah, definitely fun to watch in this whole division. And of course, this series we have, the Padres and the Giants, this midweek, which is going to be fun to watch. Now, this early season swoon, if you will, by the Dodgers, how significant is this for them? Of course, they have early struggles. They have some injury situations. What do they need to do to overcome this? And what are you sensing? What are you hearing about this Dodgers team and kind of where they are from a mentality standpoint?
Yeah, I mean, you don't worry about them because of the track record, but there are some things that are concerning. To me, the number of innings the bullpen has had to pick up, and usually you don't look at that this early in the season, but it's not sustainable at this rate. They're going to have to get some length from their starting pitching. And I realize they have Clayton Kershaw working his way back, and we've got Shohei Ohtani probably we're going to see somewhere late June, early July. So the rotation does have arms there. Basically, the Dodgers' MO is we want to just use our depth to bury people and wear people out over the course of the season, which is fine until you start losing pitchers as they have already, as they did last year. I mean, this is a team that won the World Series last year, and they were running out of pitching at the end of the year. And maybe age is a little bit of a factor, that like the Phillies, the Dodgers are one of the older teams in baseball. You worry about that in terms of the length of the season and how productive and healthy they can stay. But to simplify things, if they've got Freeman, Betts, Ohtani going at the top of the lineup, they're going to be tough to beat. We haven't seen that happen yet this year. I mean, Mookie had the illness early on. He just doesn't look the same. Freeman with the ankle injury, not quite the same. Even Ohtani, I know he left for paternity leave, came back and struggled a bit when he first came back. Again, not worried about these guys, but we haven't seen them firing on all cylinders yet.
Yeah, and you look at the Padres here too, and the Dodgers. I think going into the season, a lot of folks looked at the Padres, what they had done. That pitching staff has delivered pretty well, and even some nice surprises for them down in San Diego. When you look at that Padres team, what are they going to have to do? Because, like you said, I think the Dodgers come around as long as they don't sustain or have injuries really kill the season for them. When you look at the Padres, what do they have to do to really make a push for maybe challenging this Dodger team if they can in the division?
To me, it's health of their pitching, because they have a really good pitching staff. They don't have the depth the Dodgers have, but front line 1 to 13, they're just about as good as anybody, and they spin the ball so well. Probably my favorite team to watch in terms of just spinning the baseball. The Nick Pivetta signing was just brilliant. Ruben Niebla, the pitching coach, does a great job out there, and he gets Nick Pivetta, who's always had good stuff, but somewhat underachieved. First thing he does, he moves him on the side of the rubber, and the results have been spectacular. Of course, that's not the only thing, but it just goes to show you that Ruben is one of these guys. He can see something in a player to bring out the best. So their bullpen has been lights out. I think they have a great home field advantage. Not that the Dodgers don't, but the Padres have really grown one out there. It's become such a great baseball town, an exciting place for guys to play. They feed off the environment there. So front line, if they stay healthy, the Padres are definitely a handful, and they seem to match up well against the Dodgers.
Now, when you take the teams that are doing so well in the NLS so far this season, and you look across some of the other starts across the league, of course, we'll look out to the East Coast, the NL East, what's happening out there with the New York Mets, and you start to think, and I know I'm asking you to go way ahead. It's a long season, Tom. You've covered many of them. You know this, and a lot of things can happen. But when you look at that NL West, how those teams are built, and then look across the National League, look at Atlanta, look at New York, all these other teams, how do these teams in the NL West stack up when we start looking towards the end of the season, towards the playoff push? Are they well positioned and well built to take on those teams in the Central and in the East?
Yeah, I think they are, man. The National League is absolutely loaded. Like if you had a draft and pick the, top 5-6 teams in baseball, you might pick all National League teams before you get to the Yankees or Tigers or whoever you like in the American League. It's that loaded. So you start looking at the math and you're saying, can you get that many teams come out of one division? Well, we saw it last year in the AL Central, and a lot of that had to do with those Central teams, Cleveland, Detroit, Kansas City, beating up on a team that lost 121 games, the White Sox, right? And I think there's a similar dynamic here within the National League West where you almost feel like you have to sweep the Colorado Rockies. It's hard to say and it's hard to do, but certainly you have to really take advantage of those games that you have against Colorado. Maybe it comes down to that. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. If I'm the Braves, for instance, I'm getting a little bit nervous when I start doing the math because I think the number last year to get in was 89. It could be even higher this year in the National League at 90. So you don't want to be playing, as the Braves have to now, playing the season uphill 1 month into the season.
Yeah. Tom, last question before we let you go. So far, we're a month into the season, and what's been the biggest surprise, whether it's a player, whether it's a team, so far from you that you could not have scripted or guessed if you tried to earlier on?
This is kind of boring, but I would say that Aaron Judge has hit an absolute new level. Like we have to really sit down, and we know he's great. We know he's a great home run hitter. This is not breaking news. But to watch him now, especially after Juan Soto left, where I thought he would never see anything to hit, he's a better hitter, pure hitter, not just slugger, than we've ever seen before. Just a spectacular month of April. I just like watching this guy hit. I mean, he is just locked in. This is a gradual evolution where Judge has gone from a home run hitter to like an Albert Pujols type guy where you say, I'm not surprised he's hitting over 300 and he's on bases over 400 or close to 500. He's just crazy good right now. It's hard to find comps historically guys who are this much better than everybody else among their peers. But he's gone next level, and that's hard to do when you've already been as good as Aaron Judge.
Absolutely. It's so fun to watch. And this is where I tell people who are fans of certain teams, if you love baseball, even if you don't like the Yankees, watching Judge play, it's phenomenal. It just, you can't help but get excited about it. So we appreciate the comments on that and the thoughts on that. Tom Verducci, of course, of Fox Sports and MLB Network, and analyst there. We appreciate the time, Tom. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.